The Robin Hood Virus. Chapter 10, Major Oil Cartel Price Fixing. Oil giants are suspected of fixing prices in the crude oil market, which may have resulted in retail prices for gasoline being artificially increased around the world. Price-fixing behavior refers to a group of dominant firms agreeing to the prices they will charge customers in a certain country. The recent alleged cartel between oil firms has made the headlines due to the high cost of fuel in the UK, and worries over fuel poverty. But such behavior by major corporations is by no means a new phenomenon in the UK or the EU. It is estimated that cartels of this type have affected in excess of $400 billion of trade in countries in North America and the EU since the 1990s, distorting and harming free market competition. In some markets, the economic impact of cartels has resulted in artificial price increases of up to 25% on what customers would normally expect to pay for some products. 3 of the world's largest oil companies conspired with a very large Wall Street trading firm to manipulate the closely watched spot prices for Brent crude oil. We entered the cell phones and computer networks of Offshore Oil, Livatel Group, District Oil Corporation, and Tower Trading to determine the methods they use to fix oil prices. It is unclear, however, who exactly in offshore oil may have been involved with any price fixing, and party to any agreements. Marketing and sales managers possess certain skills that allow them to act as potential cartel brokers. Most notably, they know about prices and costs across markets, and they are experts in the assembly and use of market and competitor intelligence. Major investigations into alleged cartels can take 12 to 18 months until a decision is reached. If found guilty of artificially raising prices, the EU could impose a fine of up to 10% of a company's annual global turnover, huge sums in the oil industry. We installed our monitoring software to determine if price fixing is occurring. We will determine purchase and sales prices and compare them with other UK and EU oil companies we are occupying. If price fixing is occurring, we will be able to determine it. We have also entered the personal computers of all of the officers and marketers of those oil companies to read all emails. We have found a conspiracy between Offshore Oil and 4 of the other oil companies in the cartel to artificially keep the price of oil high. We have instituted a $20 million wire transfer to our offshore accounts. We have notified them that we have proof they are price fixing and warned them to stop the illegal practice. If they do not, the assessment will be repeated. We will continue to monitor all of their activities. We have also entered the member networks of the largest oil cartel in the world, OOPE. The Organization of Oil Producing Entities, OOPE, consists of the largest oil exporters in the world. We have also entered all personal computers of their marketers and have determined that they have a schedule for coordinated prices to increase profits dramatically. The prices increase modestly and after a few weeks they come down slowly so as not to alarm the world and invite an investigation. We also discovered a group of marketers who have banded together to funnel money from the oil cartel. They have created an independent consulting company to advise the cartel on price fixing issues. We have instituted a $20 million wire transfer to our offshore accounts from 8 of these offending oil companies and issued a warning that unless they cease the inappropriate price fixing, this penalty will reoccur. We understand by reading their communications that they are very upset. They have not realized that there is nothing they can do about our network occupation or the transfer of money. We have suspected large U.S. oil companies of manipulating gasoline prices by raising the price of crude oil without reason other than profit. We entered the cell phones and computer networks of 4 of the largest oil companies in the United States. We discovered conversations between 2 of these companies that centered on the price of crude oil. They were discussing the price of crude and they were exchanging ideas on why the price was so low and why it should be higher. They discussed their marketers and how they influenced the price of crude. We discovered, in their computer networks, their current crude prices for both of these companies and set flags to notify us when their price changed. It only took 2 days for the price of crude to rise in both companies. The price rose 7% in both companies, and we believe this was an organized effort by these 2 companies to raise prices. The other oil companies raised their price of crude accordingly. This is illegal and these companies are too large to fight. We extracted $25 million each from these 4 oil companies, sent it to our offshore accounts. We also issued them a warning. If they continue to raise crude prices beyond a cost plus 15% price, we will continue to extract large amounts of money as a retaliation. We also placed our logo on all of their written communications, including email. We also entered the cell phones and computer networks of the marketers of the 4 largest oil companies in America. We uncovered a very large oil cartel. The marketers were setting selling prices, purchase prices, reducing production, and establishing common sales agencies. All of these actions were to increase profit for the oil companies. We examined their financial statements and their personal bank records and assessed a penalty of $5 million each. We also issued them a warning to stop this practice immediately or we will assess a greater penalty. We also placed our logo on all of their written communications, including email. We expect that they will contact their respective oil companies to report our intrusion and try to discover who we are and how we discovered their illegal activities. The oil companies have put together a team of cyber sleuths to try and find us. They never will. They will attempt to find out what our IP addresses are, our location, etc. The way we operate is not in their playbook. They will waste a great amount of time and money to no avail. We will continue to search for illegal and anti-business practices and severely penalize the offenders. They have no idea that we are watching them. We will invade their cell phones and their computer systems. We are looking for price fixing, coordinating the reduction of oil output, illegal methods to co-market their oil products, and embezzlement by trusted members of the oil corporations. We have discovered through cell phone and computer network monitoring that money was being embezzled from one of the major American oil companies. Money was being diverted to a dummy corporation that was set up by the chief financial officer. She would authorize large payments to this corporation for drilling activities. She would also submit false drilling records showing bogus production statistics. We have determined that she has stolen approximately $3.4 million with this scheme. We have created an offshore transfer of $2 million from her dummy corporation in her name. We also sent an email to the president of the oil company divulging her illegal practices and her dummy company. We expect the corporation to investigate these charges and take appropriate action. If they sweep it under the carpet, we will revisit the corporation and take appropriate action. Another cell phone conversation surrounding one of the large oil companies involved the term coerce and the term low prices. These terms caused us to enter the oil company's computer network to see what we could find. Sure enough, we found emails between the CFO and one of the board members. They exchanged ideas about raising the price of gasoline. The board member relayed a discussion he had with a marketer from another oil company. The marketer is his son-in-law. They talked about how low the price of gasoline was. They also talked about raising the price to a higher level. The 2 oil companies raised the price of gasoline the next week. We believe this borders on collusion. We entered the personal computer of the son-in-law. We then entered his bank account and sent an offshore wire transfer in the amount of $100,000. We also entered the computer and the bank account of the board member and transferred $250,000 to our offshore account with his authorization. We then entered the personal computer and bank account of the CFO and created a wire transfer to our offshore account in the amount of $150,000 and entered the bank account of the oil company and transferred $2 million to our offshore account with the CFO's authorized signature. We also sent him an email warning him that if this collusion continues, the penalty will be more severe. We also placed our logo on all of their written communications, including email. With their resources they will try to discover who we are, but we cannot be discovered. Diversion total to date $1,564,350,000. Donation total to date $1,548,000,000.